Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. Over the last few weeks and months, we've gotten real insight on what goes into the safety measures involving the big rigs, vehicles, tankers that are on every freeway, every expressway. You pass them all the time. There's a lot of training, a lot of safety measures that go into effect there. I've learned so much in talking with Matt and the people he works with. Today, we're going to go inside the cab and actually get the view from somebody that does this every day, a driver, and not just any. I'll explain that in just a couple of minutes. To get us going, let's go to Matt Freeman, the man behind DOTTrainingsolutions.com. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Steve. Looking forward to another great show here. We have a great guest on with us today, has made a lot of accomplishments. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Dave Powell has to say to us today. I can go ahead and introduce Dave real quick. He was the NTTC, which is a National Tank Truck Carriers Driver of the Year champion this year. So he's been able to go out and do some speaking events and talk to a lot of folks on different subjects. And today we're going to talk a little bit about distracted driving and mental health and some other subjects that come up here as we go through this.
Awesome. Dave, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Guys, it's a pleasure. Thanks for the invite. Looking forward to our discussion today.
Yeah, same here. And before we do anything, gotta say congratulations on the NTTC Driver of the Year Grand Champion. It doesn't get any better than that. For those that don't understand, could you explain a little bit about that designation?
Well, it's a safety award along with you're the ambassador for the tank truck industry for a year. They judge you on a lot of obviously your safety record, but your industry knowledge and your image to uplift the tank truck industry and just help promote this to the younger generation and get them into our industry.
How do they make this selection? Now, obviously, your record, years in the business and all of that, do they put you on a course like, where you have to perform a certain task? Like, how is this all decided?
Well, it's not actually any physically driving obstacles, but
Okay.
it's you have to make a submission video, fill out an extensive application, and they pick 8 finalists, grand champion finalists, and the 8 finalists go to Washington to the NTTC headquarters, and we go through a round of judging. You have to compile like a 4-minute speech to give the judges, and some on-camera Q&A, and they pick a grand champion out of this. So it's a conglomeration of, like I said, industry knowledge, promotion, and your ability to speak on what we do.
Super cool. Big responsibility with that. Today we're going to focus a little bit more on distracted driving, and I'd love to begin with not what distracts you while you're driving within your environment. I'd love to talk about what distracts you regarding other drivers, other situations. You're barreling down the road, I think it's like 80,000 pounds, somewhere in that territory with a cargo tank. What can take your attention away from other drivers and things that they're doing?
Well, being a professional driver and the training you go through, it's all about seeing things that the general motoring public do not see. That's stone of our training. So I'm trained to constantly be seeing things, 3, 4, 5 times farther than the general person, and keeping your eyes moving. And sometimes, it's a lot to process at times, but you're constantly keeping an eye on your surroundings and the ever-changing landscape that you're operating in.
Certainly other drivers and their distractions, be it cell phones, changing music, things like that. What do you want people to know? You're driving this big rig. There's a lot at stake here. It's everybody's safety. What would you like drivers to know?
Um, put some faith into the truck drivers and some respect. Like I said, we underwent extensive training to do what we do, and lots of times I know it can be um, cumbersome, or maybe you get impatient. You know, it takes us a while to get going. From a safety standpoint, it takes us a lot longer to get stopped. So think about that. If you bop in front of a semi, um, our stopping distance are extremely longer than in a regular vehicle. But and especially in bad weather, when
Oh, we lost him there for a sec.
Oh,
Come back, Dave.
it's lots of times it's a good thing to almost follow suit with them because they know what they're doing.
So I'm going to get granular here for a second. I've always wondered about this. You're a driver, yeah, passenger car. Let's say it's me, anybody sitting at light. Somebody with a cargo tanker is making a turn. I'm the first one at the light waiting. Should I back up if I can and give that driver space, or is it insulting? I've always wondered about that.
No, I would not find that insulting at all. To that point, exactly. Maybe some people may not know this. Usually, there's a wide white line at an intersection. That is where you should stop when you come up to that light. Lots of times, when that car has to back up, is because they are a half a car length, a full car length
Rover.
white line. But that's what that big white line is, and generally a personal vehicle would never have to back up if they stay at that white line or slightly behind it.
Thank you for that reminder. And in any of those situations, honestly, I have faith in the driver. And the off chance that he, taps my vehicle, if that were to ever happen, it's at a slow speed. Typically, there's not going to, but I do it out of respect. Like I want to give you room, man. You got a lot going on over there, and every inch counts. But at the same time, to your point, Dave, that yeah, so many of us, will stop, we creep over the white line, and that makes it harder for anybody to make that turn. In your years of driving, what has challenged you with an evasive action? You're driving down the road, something has happened, you had to make, a quick calculation, turn, whatever. Anything come to mind over the years?
Yes, fairly recently, a couple years ago, I did get into a collision on the loop of Indianapolis near where I live, and it was a very strange situation. I was in the center lane of a three-lane interstate, and the vehicle to my left lost control and swerved left and right a few times, and actually struck my tractor in the drive tires. And we're all going down the road at 60 mile an hour, 65, and that is an impact you would never think of because everybody's going the same direction. You don't think of getting hit in the side while everyone's going the same direction. And fortunately, I mean, there was cars all around. It was rush hour. Cars to the right of me, left of me, and luckily we were the only two that were involved in the collision. But it took me by so much surprise, and honestly, my instincts took over. All the training, like I said, that stuff it's embedded in you, and fortunately, you don't have to practice it every day. But I was able to stay in control, stay in my lane, not, and it all actually, it's kind of funny. It all got captured on dash cam from another tank carrier that happened to be behind me. And so, yeah, there's a very vivid video of it that shows, I was doing what I was supposed to do. The car lost control, but it was an impact like I've never thought about that. And I don't, most people would.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I'm thinking it. Everybody's pacing at the same time. That's the least thing you're worried about. You're looking in front of you, and now you've got a vehicle that makes contact. What ultimately happened to your rig?
Um, Honestly, not much. Obviously, in those collisions. Usually the semi wins, just by sheer size and mass. But some tires, fenders, miscellaneous things. I mean, honestly, I was not. I think I was down for a day, and mainly cosmetic things. But I do believe the vehicle that was probably it was a loss. I would say the vehicle.
Wow. Uh,
Yeah, normally is.
yeah, my mom always used to say, when I was a kid driving down the road and she'd see one of those vehicles and she's like, you know where that truck goes? Where, Mom? Anywhere it wants. It's like you respect. Matt, would you like to weigh in on the safety here?
Yeah. So some of the things, some conversation offline Dave and I's had is some really good things that people don't think about. And when it comes to mental awareness, um, with the distracted driving, there's a lot of things that do affect a driver. The everyday driver, but especially when you're in a rig, those distractions. And I'll like Dave to share a couple things that drivers go through, and the good, the bad, the ugly, different things can happen because of different types of distractions, and mental distraction is a big thing. And Dave and I have had some very intense conversations on how that can affect folks. And Dave, let's hear a couple stories there, and some of your thoughts and what you want people to know about being safe when it comes to mental awareness.
Well, as I've said, we go through extensive training, and that's the cornerstone of safety, obviously. But once you have those fundamentals under your belt, I truly believe in this day and age, the largest contributor of distracted driving is a mental distraction. I've been driving 23 years. A lot's changed in that time frame. The information we have we're rifling through our brains today compared to back when I started has increased dramatically. And lots of times when you want to talk about a mental distraction, there's a lot of things that can be negative. You might find out, you get an email, early in your shift that your kid's performing poorly at school. Years ago we did not have that. We did not find out almost anything until we got home. I like to say when I started driving, I had an AM/FM radio and a CB. That was my two forms of communication.
Yep.
Obviously, a lot's changed, and now there's so much we're processing. And the one story I do like to tell that's actually positive, that almost tarnished my perfect safety record, was the day I found out my wife and I got our house, like our dream home. I jumped back up in the truck. I had a voicemail from our realtor, one of the greatest days of my life. I take off. My mind is completely in right field, and I was very close to having a very slow collision, but it would have been a collision. And I remember thinking, like, my mind was anywhere but what I was doing. I was going through the motion, shifting gears, going through a parking lot, and it scared the heck out of me. And it really made me start thinking about the mental aspect of distraction.
I totally get it. I appreciate your transparency and your honesty. And we've all been in those situations where you're just happy. You brought back a memory. It's stupid. I'm going to share in 5 seconds here. When I was in my 20s, I found out I had the day off on the weekend. And on my weekends, I used to mix music, make tapes. And I'm like, yeah, I got the weekend off. It's going to be great. Living in my mom's house, I run to the basement where my studio was, and I jump up. I'm so excited, hit the metal beam for the door frame, knock myself out, and God, just so excited, and wound up having later in the day to have stitches, like 16 stitches at the top of my head. And I'll never forget my friend, and at the time my girlfriend, were over, and they're just looking at my head, and my friend's like, dude, I think you need stitches. I'm like, I'm fine, I'm fine. But good or bad news can really change your focus. And I've learned now, if a driver cuts me off, just what you said, Dave, and many times we're like, you motherfucker, and you're mad and you sit there and you marinate. It's not going to change anything. I've reframed it to think, I'm not them. Maybe they got bad news. Maybe they're trying to work 3 jobs to support their family and they're tired. Okay, they shouldn't be driving, et cetera, et cetera. but it is what it is. I just cut a lot of slack. You never know what's going on in somebody's mind. And that also goes for somebody driving an 80,000 pound vehicle. Um, how many years have you been doing this, Dave?
23 years, and I've actually been an owner. I've owned my own truck for the past 18 of those years.
Wow. Okay, so you own your own vehicle and you're contracted out for different jobs?
Yes, I own the tractor, and I'm contracted through a company called Usher Transport out of Louisville, Kentucky. Wonderful family-owned business. I've been with them for 12 years. Um, Actually, a fun little thing is the award that I won is actually named after it's the William A. Usher Senior Professional Tank Truck Driver of the Year. It's named after uh, late William Usher. That
Wow.
was second generation. We're on fourth generation now, but and I was the first person to bring it home to our company and the first owner operator to ever win this award. So it's
Super
been
cool. You know,
That is so awesome, Dave.
it really is, and a testament to your dedication and safety and concern. It's got to be when you're driving a vehicle that you own as opposed to driving for somebody else. Do you have just a total sense of pride because this is mine? This is my baby. I'm driving here. This is my livelihood. Is it a different mindset?
I sure think it is. I mean, I take a lot of pride in my truck, and the truck I own. I've owned three trucks since I've become an owner operator, and the truck I own now is 10 years old. But I spec'd it out, and I'm actually the only person that's ever drove that truck since the day it was new. And it was cool. For winning this award, I got to take it to Charlotte, North Carolina for Tank Truck Week. And my truck, trailer, everything was in the Charlotte Convention Center on display. I don't know how many thousands of people were there, but it was all shined up. And
A
yeah,
good looking rig.
Wow. It's cool. I got no other word. Just,
Yeah, I got it.
knowing that and just what you said, I picture it there on display. It's a cargo tanker, right?
correct. I haul petroleum, gas, diesel, ethanol here in central Indiana. And yeah, I've
Hmm.
asked for 15 years now.
So last time we got together with Matt and we were talking to one of his colleagues, we were talking about cleaning out the tanks and the confined space within. Is that something that you do?
No, I'm not trained for that.
Okay.
That is something that yeah is a whole nother skill set that I do not
Uh,
possess. My tank, I did watch that episode, and my tank it does undergo the annual inspections that you all talked about, and yeah, it's subject to everything like a chemical tanker and
sure.
tanks that are out on the road.
It's so interesting to know, Matt, like that speaks volumes also uh, for the safety involved. Again, not just anybody can jump in. Here's Dave, owns his own. The rest of us would think, hey, he goes in there, he's certified, he clean the whole thing out. But no, that's a specialty. And just like we said last week, that should be a skilled trade, but it's not considered that, right?
Correct. And the steppings, kind of the stepping stones of our industry is very unique. So we talked about the tank cleaning. So when the truck's getting ready to be inspected, tank, right? We take it to the clean out, all right, the washouts, right? They do the cleaning, so they want to make sure it's safe there, right? The second step is then it goes into the inspection process where the inspectors are making sure the truck meets all the safety requirements for the inspection. The the next step is for the driver to make sure everything is good when he's going down the road to keep things maintained on an everyday basis so that when he's transporting fuel, he knows that he's got a safe tank and all the issue. Hopefully, if there's any issues, everything is fixed and good to go. So when Dave's going down the road, he's already done his pre and post trip inspections, for the past few days, knowing everything's good to go. And he's got a safe rig going down the road. So that does help prevent incidents, So the driver ultimately is the sole guy whenever this everything's being transported. He's the one that takes it down to the pipeline. They fill it full of, whatever fuels he's delivering that day. And, there's a lot of responsibility on the driver that, the markings have to be correct on the tank. The fuel's got to go to the right place. There's a lot of things with the responsibility and the safety aspects that Dave has to take on as on a day to day, there's a lot. And people don't realize, and I'll let Dave say that, it's not just driving, it's the responsibility and the safety. That is a hazmat. It's dangerous. Regardless of what it is, it's classified as a hazardous material. There's certain procedures, security measures he has to take on a daily basis that not everybody does. It drives an everyday truck tractor. So, Dave, anything on that?
Well, yeah, when it comes to hazmat, we do have to have some upscaled licensing. It's called endorsements, and we have to have a hazmat endorsement. And that procedure is something that needs to be renewed every 4 years. It comes with background checks. You cannot be a felon and have a hazmat endorsement. Then also to load at what is considered ports, which is any type of waterway, you have to have what's called a TWIC card, which is another process.
Wow.
So yeah, every 4 years I go get fingerprints done. I retake tests on kind of like a continuing education of all the hazmat regulations. So that is something that we are trained in or retrain every 4 years.
3 years.
Amazing. Every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
TWIC's 3. That's 4.
Oh, TWIC. No, you're right. The TWIC is a little different. Yes.
My head is spinning in all of this. This is that's up my wheelhouse. But this is very fascinating and interesting to learn the other side of this, because whether we believe it or not, understand it, recognize it, it affects all of us. It affects all of us. Dave, you're transporting petroleum. That affects us. The safety within, that affects us. God forbid something happens. There's so much going on here that I believe the typical driver takes for granted and doesn't really see the safety measures, the people that go in the tank, how they're taking a risk, even though they're, best practice there. But there's so much going on here. Fascinating, really cool. Matt, if somebody is involved in a company that does carrier transport, wants to really improve their safety situation, or just needs a consultant, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anybody out there can find us on our website at dottrainingsolutions.com. Reach out to me at matt@dottrainingsolutions.com. And then my direct number is 573-416-8203. So any of those 3 ways you can get me or anybody on my team. It's what we do every day, is work with companies and drivers about safety and compliance, and making sure they are 1 step ahead, not 2 steps back. It was a little motto of ours, and it's what we do.
Awesome.
It's all about safety.
Compliance is a great word. It really says it all in many regards right there. Matt, thanks for being here. Dave, the same. Congratulations on everything, including Driver of the Year Grand Champion Award. Just fantastic. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, thank you, guys.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.